The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is what would a loss to Jermaine Franklin mean for Whyte's career? We've already stated we don't think that Jermaine Franklin can beat Dillian Whyte, but this is boxing, and stranger things have happened. Now, let's say, for example, that Jermaine Franklin does in fact beat Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte. What would that mean for his career? Conspiracy
What would that be for White's career? I don't know. Because to be honest with you, to me, he'd be done. But I don't know. These UK fans, man, they go hard, man. I don't know. I think they'll breathe life into Dillian Whyte again one last time. I think they'll find a way like, oh, it's not Dillian's fault. Who would have knew Jermaine Franklin, could pull something like that off? They'll come up with some type of excuse for Dillian. So I guess that means nothing for UK fans. But for me, God bless. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say for my man Dillian Whyte. Blessings, bro. Like, hopefully you don't really I don't see you losing to this guy for one. I'm being honest. But if that happens, I can't even imagine Eddie staying by your side. And I would be like, you know what? Rightfully so. Because I'd have been like, you're gonna have to hang it up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, enough is enough. If the caliber of fighters, you going from A-listers smashing you to now like C-level opposition just running through you like that, I think you're long past a career in boxing. I think now maybe you might want to get into being like a boxing analyst or, becoming a promoter, something where, you're still involved in boxing, but you just not getting your chin checked, So I just don't see this happening at all. So if he would lose here in the States, I don't really think we really big up Dillian Whyte like that anyway. So I don't think it would necessarily matter for US boxing fans. But I think for UK fans, the way they move, man, I think they're going to still forgive him and they're going to still pack out the O2 for him. I don't know. I think at this point he might just become a UK mascot. Maybe that's what it is. It's just they just love to see this guy lose, So if you love to see a man lose, it's like, hey, you're gonna always support him. So I think his career is still gonna be solid. He's just gonna be the guy that gets beat up by everybody. Like think about it. If Chisora could lose to pretty much everybody now, and this dude been gatekeeping for a minute, and he still get love in the UK. Who am I to be like, yo, Dillian Whyte, after this fight, man, your career's done? Like, I don't think so. You know what I mean? If Chisora still could pack out houses and sell out arenas and all that good stuff, maybe Dillian could do the very same thing.
TVE.
What would a loss to Jermaine Franklin mean for Dillian? I'll say this. Dillian, if you lose, at the cookout, you gotta go keep your eyes on the gate, man. Because you a gatekeeper now. At this point, because you can't.
Now,
you can't. At this point, if he loses to him, I still feel Dillian has a lot in the tank. He still shows he can compete with some of the elite guys in the division. But if you lose to this guy who comes I don't know from the 989, what is it? 989?
989, that's what I believe. 989.
Yeah, he comes from 989. You let him beat you, man, Dillian, you might as well hang it up, or you might as well be a gatekeeper after this point. Because I don't know. It's just like we've been behind you, but it's like we said, like Trey used to say, poor Dillian is gonna be damn Dillian, it's gonna be dang Dillian, it's gonna be OMG Dillian. Like come on, like, if you get embarrassed by this man. Dillian, you know what you gotta do. Jermaine, I wish you luck, I wish you well, but you Dillian, come on now. This is free food, it's free lunch. Enjoy, man. Enjoy, bruv.
but what does that mean? No, you didn't answer the question.
Yeah, if he loses, what does it mean for his career?
Yeah,
that's the question.
He's a gatekeeper. I said you might as well go keep his eye on the gate because he's a gatekeeper.
He already is a gatekeeper in my eyes, but whatever. All right.
I'm with Ned. I don't think he's a gatekeeper. I think at this particular point in time, he's lost to the upper echelon. I think he's lost to Anthony Joshua. He lost to Tyson Fury. You're talking about two guys who reigning champion for years. And he lost to Alexander Povetkin, who's championship caliber. And Povetkin, landed a great punch on him when he was winning, and he was basically about to knock Povetkin out. And
Povetkin was like what 41 or 40 in that fight.
I agree, but people always bring up the age, and here's my thing. Um, yeah, I mean, if I'm
Remember,
not going,
Povetkin in his prime, he was like the Russian Mike Tyson.
yeah,
That
but
Povetkin looked like podcast Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
all that may be true, but as fighters age, their IQ goes up. And who knows if the guy who was known as the Russian Mike Tyson would have been able to land that punch or set Dillian White up for that punch back when he was 22. Like to me, heavyweights, they peak in their later years. Most heavyweights, with the exception of Mike Tyson, peaked early on in his career. And that's due to a lot of things, mainly because the guy who he respected the most in his boxing career, Customato, was alive and died. And as years went by, Mike's focus went further away from boxing. But heavyweights tend to mature and peak in their later age, and the reason is that's where your physical prime starts to meet your IQ. So, like, say where Vladimir Klitschko began his reign, and he did lose at 42, but say like when he was like 38 and he was still fighting very well, it was where physically his physical was matched in a line with his mental, like his IQ. Um, I think sometimes people like overlook that. So yeah, he was 40, but I think his IQ was a lot higher, and he was able to catch Dillian White, that old school, and take Dillian White out. And Dillian White came back and won a rematch. But still, Dillian White's only lost to the elite fighters. We're not going to sit around and act like Jermaine Franklin is Alexander Povetkin, because I don't believe that he is. But maybe we'll see. When all is said and done, though, most of the heavyweights at the top are older. That's just the way it is. When you go in other divisions and you look at the top fighters in other divisions, they tend to be younger than the top fighters at the heavyweight division. Look at the top fighters in the heavyweight division. We got Tyson Fury. How old is he? Like 34, 35. We got Deontay Wilder. How old is he? 37. Got Anthony Joshua. How old is he? 33. Dillian White, what is he, like 33, 34? Andy Ruiz, he's in that same age range. When you get to the heavyweight division, the fighters at the top tend to be older. And that's because, again, that's where IQ and your physical prime meet. Like these young guys in the heavyweight division, they may have like talent and whatever, but like in the heavyweight division, like all that has to come together. So the heavyweight division is different. It's unlike all the other divisions. Even Usyk's like 34 years old. Usyk older than Anthony Joshua. So again, like I'm saying, age in the heavyweight division isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I think that's where people get it wrong. But Dillian White, to me, he's knocked off a lot of good names. You look at like Joseph Parker. He beat Joseph Parker. Joe Joyce just beat Joseph Parker, another older guy who's doing well in the heavyweight division. Joe Joyce beat Joseph Parker, and Joseph Parker was the younger guy, like one of the youngest guys in the heavyweight division. So Joe Joyce beats Joseph Parker, and Dillian White already did that. Dillian White has got some great victories under his belt. He beat Chisora, and Chisora is about to fight for the third time Tyson Fury again. But Chisora's given people a lot of problems. Dillian White got good victories. But if he loses to Jermaine Franklin, this will be the L that people look at and say, all right, we can't excuse that. We can excuse the Povetkin fight because you got caught. That can happen to anyone. We can excuse the AJ fight because he went on to be champion and unify and do great things. We can excuse the Fury L because we've seen Fury knock out Deontay Wilder. We've seen Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko. But you lose to Jermaine Franklin after being knocked out by Povetkin, after having all those issues. Now we starting to look at you and say, yo, bro, you are regressing, you are fading, and you're not the same fighter. Like, it's time for you to start thinking about hanging him up. You're right, G. I don't think his career is going to suffer. In the UK, it seems like, Chisora, if Chisora got the UK mascot treatment, Dillian can get the UK mascot treatment. So I think, that would just make him the local, like the local artist who tour, who tour their town and whatever, that's what he would be. But his days of competing at world level and competing for world titles will be done. There's always that fight out there with Deontay Wilder, but that fight would even lose its interest if he loses to Jermaine Franklin. Because if Jermaine Franklin beats him, people are going to see it like Wilder will murder him.
Yeah,
So, in fact, if Jermaine Franklin beats him, people are probably going to want to see Wilder fight Jermaine Franklin. So, in that sense, if he loses to Jermaine Franklin, I think it marks the end of Dillian Whyte's campaign at world level. Because it would say this is the level you're on now. You're on a Jermaine Franklin, Greg Hardy type of level. But if he sparks out Jermaine Franklin, then he's still in the discussion. So that's my take on it.
he's hanging on to dear life for the top 10 spot. You know what I'm saying?
All he got to do is win, though, and then he's not hanging on
Dear
for dear life
life.
right now. Right now, he's hanging on to dear life. And so thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you've been watching us for a while and you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you don't get the chance to catch us on YouTube, you can also listen to our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.